everyone, and welcome to this week's DSS break. It's great to have all of you here with us today. I'm here live every other week to discuss the fascinating world of data science, AI, and machine learning, and chat about unique experiences and best practices with leading data professionals in a quick 15-minute break. I'm Anna, the founder of DSS, and today I'm streaming directly from our HQ, which is located in the heart of Miami, just a couple blocks away from the design district. And today we're joined by a distinguished personality who has made significant strides in expansive universe of NLP, or natural language processing, and intelligent writing aids. Let's give a warm welcome to Vipul Raheja, and he's an applied research scientist at Grammarly. And Vipul's journey is nothing short of inspiring. He has devoted many years to honoring the craft of improving written communication, backed by the power of NLP. And under his expertise, projects like Grammarly's Voice Composers have come to life, which is really amazing because that really enhances our daily communication experiences. Thank you so much for joining us this DSS break episode. Vipul, it's really nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Anna. It's a pleasure to be here.
So right before we get into the gritty and nitty of what you're working on, maybe you could tell us a little bit about what inspired you to get into data science, machine learning, and AI. As I imagine, it probably wasn't as exciting when you joined it.
Yeah, I think the field of AI was still very much around. It's been around for decades, but yeah, of course, so much hype wasn't there. But to answer your question, I credit that to my college. In college, I had enrolled in this integrated dual degree program, which had a bachelor's and a master's by research, and that's kind of how I got my start in research. So my background is in data mining, where I used to work on modeling spatiotemporally evolving phenomena such as foodborne illnesses. And that's exactly what I continued to work on in grad school as well. For example, at Columbia, I was working on this project with the New York City Department of Health, where I combined my background in spatiotemporal data mining with information retrieval for social media. And we worked on detecting restaurants which were a source of food poisoning. And as a result, it led to getting their food safety ratings changed. So this was a very inspiring moment for me, as my work had led to some positive impact in the real world. And that's kind of how I had officially entered the field of machine learning, building models for classifying restaurant reviews from different social media platforms.
That's really cool. And thanks for sharing that story. And that is a really great example of a real life use case, right? What machine learning can do, right? So it's, in real day kind of environment. No, that's awesome. And given your interest in LLMs and controllable text generation for writing assistants, how do you think the balance between automation and user intent can best be maintained? And I think, it's a really great time to talk about this, especially now that, we have like ChatGPT too, and people understand a bit more about how these things work, right? But what do you think about my question? How do we think the balance between automation and user intent can best be maintained? Because I feel like that's really tough.
Right. So if I understand your question correctly, I think you're asking how we can balance providing the right kind of feedback in the right situation while making a user productive.
Exactly.
And yeah, this is a very important question. I think it's largely about keeping the user at the center, to understand their goals, their audience, as in who they're writing to, the application they're writing in, whether they're writing an email or writing an essay or a report, and what are they writing about? How do they expect to get writing assistance as well? And all of these signals can help writing assistants provide higher quality assistance to the users. For example, for the same piece of writing, someone might want their writing assistant to compose and publish the whole text, whereas another person for the same thing might want to control every single edit that is made to their writing. So it's a tricky balance between what technology can do, but also how the users want to leverage it for their needs. And I believe we are just getting started with this new paradigm, getting this new paradigm of writing assistants right.
Right. No, I think you're completely right. And I know that we're talking about, writing assistants, and especially kind of, you said we're in the beginning now, but where do we see the future going, especially with such quick advancements with NLP and machine learning and, Gen AI? Kind of where do you see the future, even though we're in the early like kind of phases of it now?
Right, right. So similarly, so just like how the field of AI has advanced, writing assistants, not and by writing assistants I mean not just Grammarly but in general, they have also evolved from being spelling and grammar checkers to helping users write more clearly, hitting the right tone, achieve their objectives, and be more nuanced and personalized. And but with large language models, there's still an overwhelming amount of research and evidence as to how large language models are biased, they're generic, and even counterproductive when it comes to this holistic writing experience. And to answer your question in terms of where it is headed, I think with the opportunities that large language models have created, there's still a lot to be done, where we can get to a stage where writing assistants deeply understand what I want to write about. So understanding user intent, as you mentioned before, providing the right feedback at the right time, which means reasoning about text quality, and where they are in this journey of writing, and providing feedback accordingly, and also doing that in the right manner, which means figuring out the right UX, user experience paradigms between human and AI collaboration, because previously it was all one-sided. The writing assistant used to just tell you what to do. Now it's, the user is also in control. They can prompt and they can really evaluate what they're getting. So it's figuring out this right collaborative setting is something which will be really critical going forward.
Right. Yeah, I hear that the UI is a big thing, because they're saying that that's kind of it's not there yet, because for people that don't really understand prompts, they're not going to use ChatGPT at all. Like, be like, no, I don't really get, and that there's a lot of people like that. So I think that is the next company that solves that problem is going to be, somebody that might get a lot of users, right? But let's talk a little bit about Grammarly, and the voice composer for iOS is a significant achievement for you, which is congratulations. And how did the team overcome challenges related to things like accent, dialects, and like regional variations when transcribing voice to text? Because I feel like there's just so many of those like out there. How do you work through those when you're like, working on this product?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a great question. So as part of Voice Composer, we experimented with a lot of different speech recognition models to hit the right balance between all these different factors of quality, cost, latency, ease of development, and other more nuanced aspects, such as robust handling of not just different dialectal variations, but also other challenges which come with speech recognition, like different utterance speeds. Somebody will speak fast, somebody will speak slowly. Things like background noise and speech disfluencies, which is things like false starts or repetitions and so on. So as part of this development, we did a lot of rigorous evaluations, both automated and human evaluations, focused on these different nuances. And for some of these issues, we built custom models to handle. We even built custom models to handle things such as disfluencies, for example. So yeah, it was a pretty extensive effort.
Cool. No, that's really interesting. Thanks for sharing that. And I know that we talked a little bit about bias before, and I want to bring it back up again and ask you, how do you guys deal with that and then ensure that the suggestions remain neutral and unbiased in your machine learning, like LLMs that you guys have?
Right, right. That's another great and challenging question. So as generative AI powered products, are proliferating the market, the need for responsible, safe, trustworthy use of AI is just as important differentiating factor for earning and maintaining user trust. So at Grammarly, we've always known that technology helps people realize their potential when it works for them and solve their problems and help them learn as they engage. And so, because of that reason, our approach to building products and models is baked in with numerous checks and balances, and we prioritize all exactly these things: privacy, safety, fairness. And we rigorously kind of related to in a similar vein as my previous answer, we have a lot of rigorous evaluations for all of our work, end to end data sets, models, end to end systems, to not just be react but very very much proactive to anticipate its impact on users and communities.
No, that's really great to hear. And I think that's what everybody should do, right? And you
For
guys,
sure.
yeah, you guys were one of the Grammarly's the early players in this game, right? So I feel like you guys have probably thought about this and built this in from the beginning. And I think that is kind of essential these days, right? To really make sure that it is not really hurting anybody what you're putting out there. So, but the last question I'll ask is what, without really giving us, I mean, I know that you can't really share a lot of things, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about, since now all, ChatGPT 4 is out and people are, more excited about these kind of products, and what areas of NLP or conversational AI are you guys personally excited about? Are you personally excited about, right now? Because I'm sure, this is really like you guys are probably under pressure to do a lot more now because, right?
So is everyone.
Yeah, of course, everybody, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, I won't get into like the company's research direction, which I have to admit are quite ambitious and exciting, and we are growing our research team. But yeah, I'll share more about my research work on interests on intelligent writing assistance and iterative revision. So we have been exploring how well can large language models follow instructions for high quality text editing, so that it can be a much any writing assistant powered by a large language model can be a much better writing partner to a user. And this was a paper that was recently accepted to EMNLP, which will the conference will happen in 2 months. And we also released a paper recently with my collaborators on detecting, understanding, and benchmarking different cognitive biases that are there in large language models when they're used as evaluators of text quality. So if you give any large language model a piece of text and ask how good or bad it is, and you can maybe, if you can insert some noise that, oh, 85% of people or experts chose this answer or not that answer, the large language model will get biased. And it's a very well-known cognitive bias called the bandwagon effect or herd mentality. So that was very interesting. Yeah, now we're exploring better ways of learning from human preferences to provide high quality feedback to writers. So yeah, all in all, it's super exciting.
Cool. No, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And the last question I have for you, what are some of your favorite resources, books, courses that you would recommend for people specifically working on this kind of similar things in the industry that you're working on?
Right. So in the past, I really enjoyed Stanford's course on deep learning for NLP. I think that's anyone working in this area should, of course, take that course. But more recently, I've come across this course on human-centered NLP. by Professor D. Yang at Stanford also, which touches upon many of the topics we discussed today, putting people at the center of responsible AI development. So I think that's a really interesting course worth checking out.
Cool. No, thank you so much for spending time with us today and sharing that info. And maybe you can also send the link or share that link in that little document, so then we could share it with the audience too for those courses, because they sound really, really great. Thanks for sharing your experience. It was a pleasure to have you. And also for those of you guys coming to our event in San Francisco, which is our next event, Vipul is going to be a speaker there. So you guys can meet him in person. And you're going to be talking about evolving paradigms in intelligent writing assistants with LLMs. And so that's going to be super interesting. It's definitely one of the topics that I'm looking forward to while we're there. So yeah, and thanks so much everybody for joining us. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of the week and weekend.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Thanks for being here.